Here we are back, just getting the intake manifold back on. We've got all the piping on for the injectors. What I have done is tighten the bottom ones here. They're tight and torqued down. You'll notice the throttle plate is in position. Each one of the top injectors has been torqued to 30 foot-pounds. And then the corresponding rail, that would be that wavy rail there for the injector. Those flat nuts have been torqued down to 15 foot-pounds on those. I'd probably be about 20 Newton meters, but this is still in foot-pounds. You can do the conversion. So 15 foot-pounds on those, and then I've just snugged the injector caps right at the moment. The torquing on the is about 30 foot-pounds on the intake manifold bolts and nuts, and we've got the inlet hose tight. We've got the vacuum hose in the intercooler on, and don't forget that 12mm bolt in behind that holds the vacuum line onto the manifold right here. I haven't put mine on yet because I'm still looking for the bolt. Maybe it fell in the front. On a previous video I had mentioned how important it was to get this plate on with the two 12mm right here bolts. Leaving this off, funny enough, has I guess because the wiring involved, it needed ground here. It's all part of that ignition sequence, and I guess for the injector pump, so it won't run without this plate being attached, funny enough. Discovered that kind of the hard way. Lastly, I've got this plate here, which I'm not utilizing the steel vacuum tubes here because I've pulled off all that EGR stuff off of this plate. But before I go and mount it back on here, and of course at this point I'm going to have to spin it around on the cable and go down like this and hook it on. But before I do that, it's kind of in the way of that third cylinder injector cap. So I'm going to leave it kind of out of the way until I've got the injectors bled. I know that it's self-bleeding here, this system apparently, but I'm going to try and push out some of that air on the first trial run. And that's about it on this side. I'll be moving my tools to the other side, finishing off the exhaust manifold, as I think we've covered just about everything we can on here. Oh, one other thing, don't forget that vacuum hose right the back of the injector. I'm just zeroing in on it there, and its little clip. Alright, that comes down, that's the return line for the diesel fuel that the injectors basically flow back from pressure. Okay, so don't forget to hook that up or you'll have diesel fuel all over the place. Well, alright, here we are on the passenger side again. I've refitted the exhaust manifold, the turbocharger, the intermediate exhaust pipe bolts. The alternator has been positioned and tightened to the right tension. The bleeding pipe hose here has been reinstalled, along with the harness wires, of course, for your glow plug. That's tight. And then just an overall system check here. These hoses that go into the little T piece that goes into the head, there's 3 clamps there. Make sure that those are tight and in place. Make sure that you've got these clamps, that's the return to the thermostat. Also the thermostat hose to the heater piping here. Make sure that that's tight if you've loosened it off. And the oil return, which is underneath the turbocharger. You can see there's another clamp right there. Just make sure that that's tight as well. The little bolts. Well, these two are easy to get out, of course, but watch out for right behind, down in behind the bolt, just underneath there. You can just see the part of it coming through. And that's an actual stud. I don't know if we've got enough light in there to see it. Yeah, there's just the head of it disappearing. Okay, so we got that one, and on the opposite side, and as I say, I don't know if I can get quite around there, just a second. No, Anyway, it's just in behind, directly below that stud there, there's another nut. And of course then you have your 4 intermediate exhaust studs as well to put in, or nuts right there. They get tightened last. So once you've got your manifold all buttoned up, and you've checked all the hoses, belts, everything else, we're pretty much ready to burn at this point. Now it'd be a test burn, we're not going to run the engine, mainly because we'd have oil squirting everywhere. So at this particular stage what I would do is turn over to just see if it'll fire. At the same time I might quickly bleed the injector line, stop the process, and then put the rest of the ducting on for the intercooler, and leave the and then put the valve cover on temporarily if I know it'll run, and then I'll run it up. The other thing to watch out for here, we haven't put any coolant in it yet. So if you're going to do this process, it's just an effort to see if it will turn over, everything's going to go fine. But you don't want to run the engine for more than a few moments because there is no coolant in there. So you don't want to forget about it and sit it running there for half a minute. It's not going to do it any good. All right. In this particular case, there is a water level in the block, but the water level is below the head. Obviously, I didn't drain the block in this particular change.